Hey, so I just want to give a little update video on my Venomous Fury that I received, I guess damaged is the best way to describe it. For those who saw my last video about it, the seller just packed it in like a bubble bag and shipped it that way. And when I received it, I don't know if it was done in shipping or in the seller's hands, but there's a few nicks and dings and everything, but I could deal with that. Uh, the big issue for me was the LED. It would get bright and get dim, bright, dim, bright, dim. So what I contacted the seller actually contacted me because of the video, and he wanted to know what he could do to help out. So basically, what I said to him was, if I'm willing to repair it, will you pay for the cost of doing so? And he did agree. However, I did have to go through PayPal to receive the money afterwards. So he started off on the right path, but whatever, it's done now, and it's all good. So I had a lot of issues doing the rebuild because everything around here, you need fairly specific parts, and it's not anything you can get locally here in Canada, or that I know of, anyways. So I had to order from the Custom Saber shop, Amazon for the soldering gun and solder, and a few other places. eBay for the battery holder, because I decided I was going to put a battery holder in this, but I'll tell you more about that later. So yeah, so with a lot of trouble, because like I said, this was my first rebuild. I've never worked with solder, anything before, but basically what I did was I cut out all the wiring, replaced the switch and the recharge port, because that could have had something to do with it. I replaced the battery and added the battery holder. I used the existing SAB board and everything. So yeah, so I'm just gonna fire this up and let you guys hear it here. Crimson. So if you saw my last video, you might notice that it has the purple LED switch now, and that's because I plan on switching the main LED to purple. That was my initial thought when I first purchased the Saber. So I went ahead and picked up that from the Custom Saber shop, as well as this Switchcraft, I believe it's called, switch. However, they're a little bit different than the one Saberforge uses. It's like more of a centered look. I had to use the same plastic holder, and what a pain in the butt that was. I mean, like, I had to bore it all out, tried everything, ended up using the soldering iron to melt it to where I needed it. Another issue I had was with the battery holder. I had everything hooked up. Like, after I did hook up the Switchcraft recharge port wrong the first time, I redid it, fully expecting everything to work. Wasn't the case. So I did a lot of troubleshooting that night, and come to find out that it was the battery holder. And the issue with that was it was not making a connection. The positive terminal was really shallow, so I actually had to build that up with solder to make a connection, and it worked fine, but then I went to remove the battery and it wouldn't make a connection again. So what I ended up having to do was putting a dime in behind the negative terminal to just give it that extra push, and that seemed to work out great. And you know, it was interesting, but I'm a lot more confident now in my ability than I was before. The purple LED should be here, I'm hoping, within 2 months. The only issue with that was I ordered a couple blade plugs, the kill keys, and I also ended up ordering, because of their special, or their draw on some sabers. I also ordered an empty Bastion, Saberforge Bastion hilt. So I'm gonna I haven't decided if I'm gonna make that into a stunt saber or use a MB3. So, anyways, here it goes. Everything's wired up. Nice blue LED there. And I have been practicing a little bit with it, and I love the bounce on this saber. It's really good. Very nice choke point. I still would prefer a different pommel, but I'll deal with it. I put way too much money into the saber already. So I'll probably stop, put a blade in, and go from there. So as you can see, I actually got this knurled knob, I think they call it, screw, just to make it easier to take the blade in and out. I don't know if I like them as much. They don't feel quite so secure, quite as secure as the one you use the Allen key on, but you know, I'll use it and see how that goes. So now I'll just show you the blade and how it doesn't flicker anymore. Nice and really bright now, the way it should be. You hold this button in for a couple seconds.
Menu.
You get
optical frequency 1.
Get the menu here.
2. 3.
See, this is when it should flicker.
4. 5.
I like the 5. It's a really quick flicker, so
Select sound intensity low. Select impact.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I was basically gonna go through the menu, but most of you guys familiar with Saberforge sabers are probably pretty familiar with it. You know, you can change the flicker, the intensity of the sound. I actually have it on mute right now. The swing and clash sensitivity, I believe it is. But yeah, I also want to share with you guys a pretty interesting story. So while I was out in the workshop putting this together, my wife texted me and said that one of her friends, who's a very, very talented tattoo artist, want to do a Star Wars tattoo on someone. And I jumped at the chance, and you know, the rest is kind of history. I went in there the next day, and just give me a few seconds, and I'll show you what I got. So his idea was for this. He, like I said, his name, he's really talented. His name's Chan Flint. You can find him on Facebook. He works at Divergence Tattoo, which is also on Facebook. I must say, Finn probably wouldn't have been my my first choice, but I'm so glad I decided to. He looks amazing. You know, I couldn't ask for anything better. And the funny thing about this is some people may have already know about this, but I put it up on, you know, my friends and family knew I was getting tattooed, Star Wars tattoo, didn't know what I was going to get. So I put it up on Facebook first, and I said, I haven't used my Twitter in a long time, so might as well put it up on there. So I did, and my wife and I ended up going to bed, and about 6 o'clock in the morning, my phone started going off, my notifications, which is actually a lightsaber sound, and it was just going off. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, and I look up, come to find out that John Boyega, the actor who plays Finn, saw it and retweeted it, and yeah, quite a good response from most. Pretty happy with that, but he also must have taken the picture and put it on Instagram, which I haven't used in months, if not a year or more. And the artist Chan, he texted the wife and asked if I'd seen it. I said no, and I opened it up, looked at it, and had over, you know, I think it was around 30,000 likes, something crazy like that. I was pretty surprised with the response. Now, John's, I don't know how to take John's post about it. He was basically like, "Good Lord, I don't have the emotional skill to react to this." I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but just know that, you know, I'm not some creepy fan. So if you happen to see this, you know, no worries about that. The other thing was, quite a few people had some pretty negative comments about it. You know, saying that it was creepy, whatever. You know, it's John Boyega, but it's not. It's Finn. It's a Star Wars character. I love Star Wars. You know, I just wanted to get that out there. But try and get a little closer. It is healing, so trying to get the best angle here. But yeah, I couldn't believe the reaction to this. I knew it was amazing, and I thought the world of it, but I was just blown away by it. So what I'm going to do is, if you're interested in getting another portrait, he's primarily, but not, you know, exclusively a portrait artist. I'm gonna put his a link or, you know, his Facebook info up in the description. But he seems to really like to do like 80s sci-fi, that sort of thing. But, you know, his stuff's just awesome. So you guys should really check him out, and, you know, give him some of your money. Anyways, this video is way too long now, so I am going to say see you later.